All right, folks, welcome back to the New Sentinel. I'm Major Ethan Graves, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Duke Johnson. Today, we're diving into what's probably the biggest shakeup in U.S. airborne surveillance in decades, the Pentagon's decision to pull the plug on the E-7 Wedgetail program. Duke, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, Ethan, this one's a gut punch. $14 billion down the drain, and the E-7 was supposed to be the answer to our aging E-3 Sentry fleet. Now, we're left with a big old question mark. I mean, the E-3s are dropping like flies, half the fleet's already retired, and now, no Wedgetail? That's a hell of a gap.
It's wild, right? I remember back in, 2012? I was running a joint exercise out in the Pacific, and we had an E-3 Sentry overhead. That bird was our lifeline, kept us out of trouble, gave us the big picture. You lose that, you're flying blind. The Wedgetail was supposed to be the next step, but now it's just gone.
Yeah, and the reasons they're giving: cost overruns, delays, survivability. I get it, the price tag kept climbing, and they were only going to have 2 prototypes by 2028. But man, you can't just yank the rug out. They're saying the E-7 isn't survivable anymore, because of what we've seen in Ukraine and China's anti-access stuff. But you ask me, you still need eyes in the sky.
That's the thing. The battlefield's changing. Long-range missiles, electronic warfare, big, slow planes like the E-7 are juicy targets. But like you said, Duke, you still need that command and control. The Pentagon's betting big on space-based ISR now. It's a huge gamble. And you know, this isn't just about tech. There's politics, too. The Trump administration's been pushing for big, difficult decisions, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, and let's not forget the folks in Congress. You got lawmakers from Oklahoma and Washington, places with E-3s and Boeing jobs, raising hell. Rep. Tom Cole's out there saying, space is great, but it's unknown and undeveloped. He's not wrong. We're ditching something that works, even if it's old, for something that's not even ready yet.
And the E-7 wasn't just another plane. I mean, you look at what Australia, South Korea, the UK have done with it, those are proven platforms. But the Pentagon's saying, nope, we're moving on. It's a real end of an era, and honestly, I'm not sure we're ready for what comes next.
So here's the pivot. Now it's all about space. The Pentagon's throwing money at these AMTI satellites, talking about persistent global coverage. Sounds good on paper, but I'm not buying it. You ever seen a satellite pull a 17-hour mission over Iraq? Didn't think so.
Yeah, satellites don't need coffee or crew rest, but they've got their own headaches. The idea is you get these constellations up there, you can watch everything, everywhere, all the time. But the tech's not there yet. There's a real risk we end up with a gap. No E-3s, no E-7s, and satellites that aren't ready for prime time.
Exactly. And you know, I keep coming back to what Rep. Cole said. Space is unknown and undeveloped. We're betting the farm on tech that's still in the lab. What happens if the satellites get jammed or shot down? You can't just send a wrench team up there. And in the meantime, we're stuck with the Navy's E-2D Hawkeye as a stopgap. That's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, the Hawkeye is a solid bird, but it's not the Wedgetail. Smaller crew, less range, less capacity. It's built for carrier ops, not the kind of global command and control the Air Force needs. And integrating it with Air Force systems, that's going to be a mess. Plus, you've got the whole refueling issue. Probe and drogue versus fly and boom. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
And let's be real, the Hawkeye's not going to keep up with F-22s or B-21s. It's slower, flies lower, can't see as far. We're trading capability for survivability, and I get why. But it feels like we're just patching holes instead of fixing the roof. And all this just to buy time until the satellites are ready, if they ever are.
It's a classic case of future-proofing gone sideways. We're modernizing, but at what cost? there's a real risk we end up with less capability in the short term, and maybe even in the long run if the space assets don't deliver. And we've seen this before. Remember the Big Beautiful Bill episode? Sometimes these big shifts don't play out the way the planners hope.
Yeah, and the enemy gets a vote. China, Russia, they're not sitting still. They're watching us fumble this handoff, and you better believe they're planning to exploit any gaps. I just hope we're not setting ourselves up for a nasty surprise down the line.
Let's talk about the ripple effects. This isn't just a U.S. problem. Australia, the UK, South Korea, they've all got Wedgetails in service or on order. Now they're looking at us like, are you guys serious? It's got to shake their confidence in joint programs, right?
Oh, for sure. If I'm sitting in Canberra or London, I'm wondering if the U.S. is going to stick with anything long enough to make it work. And Boeing, man, they're taking it on the chin. Lost contracts, bad press, maybe even layoffs. That's a lot of jobs in places that can't afford to lose them.
And it's not just about the money. It's about trust. I remember a NATO exercise a few years back. Think it was in Germany. We had US, UK, and French AWACS all trying to talk to each other, and it was a mess. Took us hours to get the data links working right. The Wedgetail was supposed to fix that. One platform, everybody on the same page. Now, who knows? We're back to square one on interoperability.
And the Hawkeye's not a magic bullet. It's Navy-centric, so the Air Force is going to have to spend a ton of time and money just to get it to play nice with their systems. Plus, it's got half the crew, less range, and it can't do the same level of battle management. We're making do, but it's a step back, no way around it.
And for the Allies, it's a real curveball. They've invested in the Wedgetail, trained their crews, built their doctrine around it. Now the U.S. is walking away, and that's going to make them think twice next time we pitch a joint project. It's not just about planes. It's about the whole alliance structure.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. Alliances are only as strong as the trust behind them. If we keep changing course every couple years, folks are going to start hedging their bets. Maybe they look to Europe, or even go it alone. That's not good for anybody, except maybe our adversaries.
Couldn't agree more. All right, that's about all the time we got for today. This Wedgetail saga's far from over, and you can bet we'll be watching how the Pentagon's space gamble plays out and what it means for our allies and industry. Duke, always a pleasure sparring with you.
You too, Ethan. Folks, keep your heads on a swivel. We'll be back soon with more from the new Sentinel. Out here.
Take care, everybody. Stay sharp, and we'll catch you next time.